Correct price differentiation. I'm going to go over that again because usually the second time I say it, it kind of sinks in a little bit more. How do we figure out price differentiation? Well, we take the difference in package prices, $3,700, $4,800. The difference is $1,100 again. And we divide it by the bottom of the two packages, $3,700. So $1,100 divided by $3,700, it gets you a number of about 0.3. I actually think it's 0.297. I've given that example enough that I think I remember it being a little bit below, but I rounded, rounding errors, no problem there. So a 30% price increase. That's between our 25 to 50% target. And really what that's saying is it's going to cost you 30% more to go from the middle package to the top package. That's doable. It's very doable. It's a better deal. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but we know it's a better deal, and we're going to see why it's such a better deal when we look at our extras list. Our extras list supports the fact that that album in the package is a fantastic deal. And last, we introduced an album. We introduced an album for the first time, and that was that final must-have. That was that number 2 must-have. So you're probably picking up that I think it's important to introduce must-haves as you go. You're probably also picking up there wasn't a must-have in the first package. We'll talk about that. Very, very important. Okay, let's review, guys, those 4 tenets of proper packaging. Your starting package is so important, and the price of your starting package is what's most important. Remember to review, if it's too low, your clients won't upgrade. If you're telling your clients, I charge $1,500, they're not going to expect to ever pay $6,000, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000, $14,000. They just aren't. You've set those expectations. Imagine walking into a restaurant and seeing something very low priced and then seeing something very high priced, and you're going to be thrown off when you see a wide array. There's a story I like to tell. I'll tell it very quickly. And it's the story of the Argentinian cow and the ground beef. Have any of you heard this story before? Hannah has? All right, good. Well, I've told this story a few times, so I apologize if you heard it before. Imagine walking into a restaurant, and it's a very nice restaurant. They have, very nice napkins. You get seated. The hostess was very polite and very nice when she sat you, and it was just, everything's really fancy. The chairs are fancy. The whole experience, the menu's fancy, and you open it up, and the server walks over and says, "Sir, tonight we have 3 options for you. All right, first off, we have pile o' ground beef. And all we do is we just take ground beef. We saute it in a pan, we sprinkle some ground pepper on it, and we bring it out to you in a pile. That's $8. Special tonight. Our second special this evening is seared New York strip steak. We take a nice piece of New York strip steak, aged, we throw it on the grill. First we sear it, then we throw it in the grill. And it's got a light béarnaise sauce to it. We bring that out to you steaming hot. That's $28 tonight. So again, we had pile o' ground beef for $8. Our second special is the New York strip steak for $28. Final special of the night is what we call the Argentinian cow. Our chef has actually flown down to Argentina and picked out his favorite cow for you. He flew it back in a plane, live, still alive. On the plane was natural grass that we had laid down so the cow could still feed on natural grass. We landed the plane right out in the back of our restaurant, and there the cow was slaughtered for you live just this morning so you could have the freshest of meats. And that's prepared to you, and we'll bring that out to you for $185 tonight. The point of the story is, first off, how weird it would be to have that happen. But what it's really getting at is you would never go to a restaurant and expect to be served ground beef and high-priced, incredibly customized steak, and you'd never expect to pay $8 and $185. Now, if you went into a restaurant and all their steaks were at around $100 to $200, you'd know that you were at a very expensive restaurant, but you'd also feel like it's a nice restaurant, the steaks are expensive, I understand what I'm doing here. And then it's just a decision about whether you can afford it or not. And if you go into a restaurant that's just serving very cheap meals, and they have price points of $8, $10, $12, $14, $16, maybe even $20, you understand that you can afford it. It's probably not going to be the best, most amazing thing ever, but there's clarity. On both sides, there's clarity. There's not clarity when it tries to encompass all things. We talk as photographers about how we like to hedge. We want to have that starting price to get that bride that just could, we want to book that off-season wedding so we have a nice cheap price. We have that middle package, that's our breadwinner, that's the one we want to book 9 out of 10 times. But of course, we have to have that whopper package. What if some high-end bride comes along and wants to spend $12,000? We have to have a package in there for that. And we make a mistake when we do that, when we try to be all things to all people. Be very careful about your starting price and let it indicate what you really want to charge.